So for those veterans listening, if there's other evidence that you want to submit as part of your appeal or that is necessary to cure the error, then neither CAR nor HLR is the way to go.
That's right.
Okay. And is the chief advantage to CAR really the speed?
That's really the only advantage.
Okay. And are there any risks if you're filing for CAR? Can it slow down other appeals or?
Sure. Keep in mind that all of these appeal possibilities have to be sequential. So if you file CAR or HLR at a point in time when the error isn't really clear enough to get corrected in that setting, then what you're going to do is you're going to lose anywhere from a month to a year while it takes them to process the CAR request or the HLR request. And then you're going to have to go on to either supplemental claim or appeal to the board to actually get it straightened out. So you just shoot yourself in the foot by filing HLR or a CAR request in that scenario.
And how specific should a veteran be when they're filing for CAR?
Oh, super specific. A CAR request should be just so clear that a fifth grader can see the problem when you write it down. You know, it really needs to be at the level of you added 2 and 2 and got 7. You know, it has to be very, very clear and specific.
Welcome to the Victory Over VA podcast, a podcast about empowering veterans to overcome denied disability claims. Each week, we deliver critical insights to help you understand the disability process, veterans' benefits, and how to take control of your legal rights. Now here's your host, Attorney Francis Jackson.
Welcome to Victory Over VA. If you're a veteran struggling with the VA's disability system, or just want to make sure you're getting the benefits you've earned, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an update that could change your life. I'm Christian Terrison, here with renowned veterans disability attorney Francis Jackson of Jackson and MacNichol. Jack has dedicated his career to helping veterans like you win the benefits you deserve, recovering millions of dollars for thousands of heroes. This podcast isn't just for veterans navigating the system, though. It's for their families, their friends, and anyone else who wants to stand shoulder to shoulder with those who served. So stick around, because we're here to make sure you get the support you need. Now, today's episode is on CAR. Unfortunately, I don't mean the gas-burning four-wheeled conveyances that speed down the road and are much more fun to talk about generally, but I'm talking instead about claim accuracy requests. So can you tell us what exactly is a claim accuracy request?
Sure.
And where does it happen in the VA disability process?
Sure. The claim accuracy request is, if you will, a modified version of the higher level review. It uses the same form, but you have to mark it CAR. So what's going on is VA has recognized that it's a large bureaucracy and has a lot of new people. Some of them are just beginning to learn their jobs, and they make mistakes. VA also recognizes that once they took away their earlier decision review officer process, they didn't have a good process for quickly fixing obvious errors. So what they've done is they've modified the higher level review process to include this claim accuracy request process. Use the same form. But the point of the claim accuracy review process is twofold. Number one, you have to file it within 30 days of the error that you're claiming. And number two, it's limited to use for truly obvious errors. You know, if the VA made a math error in combining the ratings, or a math error in computing the amount due, or they failed to get the right effective date, or they overlooked the submission of new and relevant evidence with a supplemental claim form. You can point those things out on the CAR form, and what is supposed to happen, and usually does, is that an experienced person within the VA system looks at this pretty quickly and decides, okay, is there really an obvious error here? And if there is, they actually fix it pretty rapidly, a month to 6 months. And in VA world, that's lightning
light
speed.
yeah.
So the CAR request is an important but very narrow piece of the VA process.
Okay. And as far as filing the CAR request, I realize CAR request is a little bit redundant, the R standing for request, but the veteran themselves, or can they have a representative file it on their behalf if they have an attorney or?
Sure, the request can be filed by the veteran themselves or by any representative, an attorney or a veteran service officer. Anyone who's representing the veteran on their claim can file the request.
Now, is it only for factual mistakes, or could it address errors in how the law or the rules were applied?
You can address any error as long as you can show that it's really, really plain. So in the applying the legal rules kind of context, you can't use it for anything complex. But if the VA missed an obvious point, then you can bring it up. So for example, if you have filed a request to review a previously unfavorable decision based on new service records, there is a provision in 3105 for them to completely review that, and if the new records show that they got it wrong, they're supposed to replace the prior decision with a current corrected decision. And theoretically, you could bring that up under CAR. As you know, we gave you these new records from the service, and you haven't, in fact, looked at the fact that they show that the prior decision was wrong and needs to be corrected and replaced. But, it's really intended, really intended for obvious, straightforward, factual errors that are beyond dispute.
Okay. What is the impact of filing a CAR on the veteran's later appeal options?
It has no impact. My recollection is you can even file an HLR after a CAR. And normally you can't file HLR and then HLR on the decision arising from the HLR. But I think if you file CAR and then you can still file an HLR after that.
Okay. Are there times when it's, I guess, better to file HLR versus the CAR? Is it just a matter of complexity of the mistake?
It is a matter of complexity. The thing is, in our experience, HLR is really not a very effective process, and the statistics bear that out. Keep in mind that with HLR, you're asking for higher level review, and what you're doing is you're going back to the same agency with the same evidence, and most of the time that gets the same result. So it's not particularly useful, but HLR is designed to correct fairly obvious errors. CAR is designed to correct the most obviously egregious errors.
Okay.
The ones that really, there's no dispute you got it wrong. You added 2 and 2 and got 7,
Okay. Well, I'm thinking of one case I had. This predates the AMA, so CAR was not on the table. But it was a veteran who started his service in the Army, then had a period in the reserves, and then had a period in the Air Force. And his disability claim related to his first period of service in the Army. And for whatever reason, the regional office was certain he had only been in the Air Force. And so would that be something that could be a CAR issue?
Well, it would fall, I think, in either CAR or HLR, depending on exactly what it was about that period of service. I mean, see if I could phrase this in a way that would make sense. If the error was simply that he hadn't served in the Army, then that's a CAR request. If the error was that he had served in the Army and had gotten exposed to whatever it was that caused his later medical condition, that's probably an HLR request.
Okay. And as I recall, the problem stemmed from the fact that they only had one DD-214 in the C file. So in an instance where there's other evidence that would need to be submitted, is CAR or HLR, I guess, inappropriate out of the gate because you need to submit other evidence?
Yeah, you'd have to go at least supplemental claim, if not appeal to the board.
Okay, so for those veterans listening, if there's other evidence that you want to submit as part of your appeal or that is necessary to cure the error, then neither CAR nor HLR is the way to go.
That's right.
Okay. And is the chief advantage to CAR really the speed?
That's really the only advantage.
Okay. And are there any risks if you're filing for CAR? Can it slow down other appeals or?
Sure. Keep in mind that all of these appeal possibilities have to be sequential. So if you file CAR or HLR at a point in time when the error isn't really clear enough to get corrected in that setting, then what you're going to do is you're going to lose anywhere from a month to a year while it takes them to process the CAR request or the HLR request. And then you're going to have to go on to either supplemental claim or appeal to the board to actually get it straightened out. So you just shoot yourself in the foot by filing HLR or a CAR request in that scenario.
And how specific should a veteran be when they're filing for CAR?
Oh, super specific. A CAR request should be just so clear that a fifth grader can see the problem when you write it down. You know, it really needs to be at the level of you added 2 and 2 and got 7. You know, it has to be very, very clear and specific.
Sounds like a good rule of thumb would be if it takes you more than 3 sentences to explain, you should probably do higher
not
level
CAR.
review.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. I mean, CAR is really designed for the, oh my God, how did we ever screw it up that badly kind of situation.
Gotcha. So overlooked medical evidence, you know, you never mentioned the records from these dates that are part of the file, that type of thing.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where you say there's no diagnosis of diabetes, and here are the 3 pages that are in the record, each of which has a diagnosis of diabetes. You know, it has to be that level of obvious error.
Yeah. So what is the difference between a CAR request and simply, you know, resubmitting evidence and a supplemental claim? Because I know a lot of veterans get counseled by folks to go for the supplemental claim. It'll get you a faster decision.
Well, it will get you a faster decision than going to the board, certainly, but often not as good a one, but that's the trade-off. But in terms of speed, CAR is the fastest mechanism the VA has. It is supposed to get a response anywhere within the range of 30 to 180 days. It's like putting the Maserati beside the Ford. You know, it's supposed to be much, much, much faster. What's supposed to happen with CAR requests is that they have to be submitted within 30 days of whatever the alleged error was. And keep that in mind, because if a CAR request is not submitted within 30 days, it just gets kicked over into HLR automatically. And the way it's supposed to work, and mostly does, in fairness to the VA, mostly works the way they say it will. A CAR request is supposed to get the fastest turnaround VA is capable of. And it's supposed to go right to an experienced rater, and they're supposed to look at, is there truly a just obvious error here? And in which case, they are supposed to fix it pronto.
Okay. So to end today's episode, for veterans listening, what is the single biggest thing they should understand about how these claim accuracy requests can protect their rights and benefits?
Well, there are really 2 critical things. One is, if there's an obvious error, CAR is the fastest way to correct it. You must submit it within 30 days of the decision you're complaining about. But the other is, as to both CAR and HLR, if you can't show the problem without new evidence, don't do it. You're just going to lose time. If you can't show that the decision was wrong without asking the VA to look at something that's not already in the record, you've got to file a supplemental claim or an appeal to the board. And all you're doing by filing an HLR or a CAR request is just delaying it.
And that's an outcome I don't know any veteran who wants to add delay to their claim.
No, but we've seen lately several cases where veterans have asked for an HLR before they came to us, and we've got to wait for the decision on the HLR or dismiss it, one or the other, before we can file an appeal or a supplemental claim to get the evidence in that's necessary to fix the problem. And so it's a, so many veterans get seduced by the idea that this is going to be really quick, that they don't look at the fact that it's also not going to work.
And on that sobering advice, that's today's episode of Victory Over VA. Please be sure to like and subscribe and join us again next week.
Hope to see you then.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Victory Over VA podcast. Make sure to visit our website, veteransbenefits.com/podcast, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Spotify, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you like this show, you might want to check out our free consultation to see how we can help you with your denied claim. Simply go to veteransbenefits.com and fill out the form. You fought for us. Now let us fight for you. And be sure to tune in next week for our next episode.